The stage lights burned like spotlights in an interrogation room, pinning me to the velvet seat as my father, Professor Daniel Thornton, positioned his hands over the gleaming keys of the Steinway Grand. At 35, I'd faced worse, mortar fire in Kandahar, the slow bleed of betrayal, but nothing prepared me for this moment. Watching him claim my creation as his own, his fingers poised to twist my pain into his glory. The audience leaned forward, unaware they were about to witness not a performance, but a reckoning. My name is Rebecca Thornton, and the scar he left when I was just 14 still pulses like a phantom limb, reminding me that some wounds don't heal, they evolve into weapons. The Thornton family home in Boston was a fortress of refinement. Walls lined with framed reviews from the New York Times, plaques from Tanglewood festivals, and black and white photos of Daniel shaking hands with maestros like Bernstein's successors. He chaired the composition department at Berklee College of Music, penned essays on Beethoven's late quartets that academics quoted like gospel, and spoke of counterpoint with the intensity of a preacher at a revival. My older sister, Olivia, was his crowning achievement, the wunderkind who debuted at Lincoln Center at 15. Her violin solos drawing standing ovations that echoed like thunder. She embodied his vision, precise, intellectual. A vessel for the composer's intent without the mess of personal interpretation. I was the outlier, the wild card. While Olivia's playing was a polished diamond, mine was a storm unpredictable, charged with emotion that spilled over the edges of the score. When I touched the keys of our Baldwin upright, it wasn't about notes, it was about release. Chords became colors exploding in my mind. Melodies tasted like salt spray from the Charles River on a windy day. Daniel would hover during my lessons, his sighs cutting deeper than any critique. Too indulgent. Rebecca, music isn't therapy, it's architecture. Build it right or don't build at all. But how do you explain to a man like him that a simple arpeggio could feel like heartbreak? That a diminished chord smelled like forgotten promises? To him, it was amateur delusion. To me, it was the only way I knew to breathe. That bitter January night, I'd poured 3 months into Debussy's Clair de Lune, not for applause or grades. Daniel had drilled into me that I wasn't recital material, but for the quiet satisfaction of mastering something ethereal. I'd listened to recordings by Horowitz until the vinyl warped, chasing that luminous quality that turned notes into moonlight spilling across water. The house was still as a held breath when I played it for him, the grandfather clock ticking like a metronome set to judgment. Mom perched on the edge of the sofa, her knitting needles paused mid-stitch. A ghost in her own home after years of fading into the background to avoid his temper. Olivia lounged by the fireplace, already in her gown for a chamber music gig, her expression one of mild curiosity, like watching a lab rat navigate a maze. I played with everything I had, each phrase a whisper, each swell a confession, the final cascade of notes pouring out like a dam breaking under pressure. When it ended, I was trembling, alive in a way that scared me. The silence wasn't awe, it was condemnation. Daniel steepled his fingers, his gaze clinical. You'll never make it as a musician. Rebecca, you have passion. Sure. But passion without structure is chaos. Noise masquerading as art. Then, the gut punch, he turned to Olivia. Show her the proper phrasing on your violin. Let her see discipline in action. As Olivia's bow drew out flawless tones cold, impeccable, I felt a crack form inside. Not a shatter, but a slow fracture that would spread like ice on a frozen pond. I was 14, and my father had just declared my soul's language invalid. That night, I streamed Olivia's performance from my room. The crowd's cheers a distant roar through my headphones. Critics raved about her transcendent control. To me, it sounded like a machine efficient. but empty. I wondered if that's what he wanted, music stripped of humanity. Safe and sterile. The piano collected dust after that. I still played in secret. When the house echoed empty. But shame muffled every note. By summer, I'd applied to the U.S. Naval Academy. If music was off limits, I'd choose a path he couldn't dissect: service, structure, survival. He endorsed it with a nod, as if relieved to outsource my chaos. Afghanistan stripped illusions faster than a sandblast. In Forward Operating Base Echo, there was no room for Daniel's theories, just the raw grind of patrols. Dust that choked your lungs. And nights where sleep came laced with adrenaline. I'd been there 9 months when the outbreak hit. A vicious bacterial infection sweeping through like wildfire in dry brush. It started with Corporal Hayes, 20 years old, still talking about his kid back in Ohio. Within days, a third of us were down. Fevers spiking to 104. Bodies racked with chills in 120-degree heat. Medics scrambled. But supplies were low, antibiotics rationed. Evac choppers grounded by insurgent fire. Men who dodged bullets were felled by microbes. In the chaos, I unearthed an old Yamaha keyboard buried in a storage crate amid ammo boxes and field manuals. Scratched. Keys gritty with sand. Speakers crackling like radio static. It was no Baldwin. But in that hell, it was salvation. I began playing during night watches over the sickbay tents, not showpieces, but improvised lines sinking to ragged breaths. Harmonies weaving through moans like threads holding frayed cloth together. I learned that a minor at 55 BPM could ease Hayes's convulsions. That adding suspended fourths grounded Sergeant Ramirez when delirium hit. The guys dubbed it Thornton's tunes, but it was more lifelines. Coded in keys. On the blackest night, when we lost 3 and 5 more teetered on the edge, Elegy for the Forgotten took shape. The title hit me as I monitored Lieutenant Cole's pulse, erratic. Fading. We were all forgotten out here. Ghosts in a war the world scrolled past on their feeds. The melody emerged from their collective vital signs. Scribbled on torn MRE wrappers. Casualty reports. Anything at hand. Not notation for symphonies, but survival blueprints, bars marked with BPM matching heart rates. Pauses for oxygen checks. This wasn't art for galleries, it was for 4 a.m. vigils when death lingered like smoke. Cole, 6 feet 2 inches of solid marine, reduced to a trembling shell. Gripped my arm one dawn. What? Is that? His voice was gravel. Just keeping time, I muttered. No, he rasped, eyes clearing. That's my heartbeat. You're playing me back to life. He nailed it. I'd mirrored his rhythms subconsciously, using the music as an anchor. Slowing when he raced. Deepening when he shallowed. Don't stop, he begged. I played through blisters. Through exhaustion. Until his fever cracked like ice under sun. Others surfaced from haze, claiming the elegy pulled them from nightmares. A sonic rope in the void. We buried 4. But 15 clawed back. Medics called it luck. We knew better. Music had been our foredrip. Our defibrillator. Our unspoken pact against the dark. The original sheets, smudged with sweat and blood, looked like war relics, not scores, but battle maps. Back stateside, I boxed the keyboard but carried the elegy like a medal. Naively, I thought Daniel might grasp it, music born from necessity, not ego. The envelope I mailed weighed nothing. Just my hasty scrawl on recycled paper, flecked with Afghan grit. A note inside, Dad. Composed this in echo. Saved lives. Feedback welcome, Becca. At 29. A Bronze Star recipient. I was still that kid craving validation. Pathetic. He called a month later. Mid-PT session for my shredded knee from a convoy ambush. Rebecca. No warmth. Just summons. Got your sketch. Raw potential. But messy. I'm refining it for a veterans gala at Symphony Hall. Could be poignant with tweaks. You want to play it? Hope flickered. After edits. Harmonies need logic. Structure's off. Make it universal. I should have refused. Smelled the theft. But hearing him acknowledge my work? Fine. Okay. The program arrived glossy. Venomous, Elegy for the Valiant by Daniel Thornton. World premiere. My stomach dropped, title warped. Credit erased. I dialed him. Voice shaking. You stole it. That's my elegy. Nonsense, he snapped. You sent a draft. I elevated it. Art demands refinement. It was for dying men. Dad. Their breaths are in those notes. Dramatic as ever. This version honors them properly, accessible. Not indulgent. He hung up, leaving me shattered on my apartment floor. Sobs raw as sandstorms. But from the ruins rose resolve. He'd taken my voice at 14, now, at 29. I'd reclaim it with witnesses. The invitation mocked me embossed. Elite for Melodies of Honor, finale his elegy. Dedicated to our heroes, as if he'd ever tasted dust or loss. I could have torched it. But Cole's words echoed in the field. Pick your ground. Know your foe. Symphony Hall was his domain. But I'd turn it into mine. 2 weeks of prep, calls to survivors, 15 affirmations. Flights booked on shoestring budgets. Hayes drove from Ohio. You pulled me through, I'll stand for you. Cole organized vans for West Coast vets. Ramirez brought his family. They gotta hear what saved me. Proof next, Specialist Kim. Our tech whiz. Doug deployment drives, audio snippets. 42 minutes of keyboard ghosts amid generator hum. My voice murmuring vitals. Breathe in. Hold. Out. Timestamps predated his creation by 8 months. I relearned the original. Knee brace on. Pain shooting like fire, simplifying runs. Preserving the raw pulse. 3 days out. Olivia called. Voice tentative. Becca. I heard you play something like that elegy last Christmas. Before your tour. Raw. Haunting, not dad style. You remember? Couldn't forget. I'll be there. As your sister. Her words cracked years of distance. The hall gleamed, chandeliers like stars. Seats plush as judgment thrones. I sat front center in dress blues, flanked by 15 vets amid tuxes and pearls. Daniel owned the stage, Mozart crisp. Brahms dramatic. Applause rippled polite. Then, my final work. Elegy for the Valiant, inspired by our troops' sacrifices. Inspired, as if imagination equaled endurance. He struck the first chord. Sanitized. Stripped of dissonance that matched Hayes's gasps. Cole rose. Voice booming, mistake here. Heads turned. Daniel froze. Sir. Please, I heard that in echo. Played by Specialist Thornton while we fought infection. Murmurs swelled. Hayes stood, breathed to it for days, it's etched in me. One by one. They testified. Transforming elegance into tribunal. We want the real composer, Cole demanded. Eyes on me. Silence crushed. I rose. Steps echoing like verdicts. Ascending amid flashes. Rebecca. This is absurd, Daniel hissed. My event. My elegy, I countered. You can steal notes. But not meaning. At the bench. Pain flared. But I played raw E minor. Irregular beats. Spaces heavy with memory. The hall vanished, I was back in the tent. Notes tethering lives. Final chord hung, silence profound. Then Hayes clapped heartbeat rhythm, joined by all. Swelling to ovation. Daniel shrank. Exposed. I'd brought the war home. Silence shattered. Brennan Law Group's offices towered over Midtown. All chrome and confidence. My attorney, Elena Vasquez, ex-JAG. Now IP Shark, took my case gratis via Cole. Your dad's with Sterling and Weiss, top tier. They're pushing dismissal on emotional instability. Documents slid, PTSD claims. Framing my memories as delusions. Rage boiled, he weaponized my service. The path he nudged me toward. Our arsenal? Vasquez grinned. Manuscripts authenticated. Military stock. Deployment Inc. MIDI files timestamped. Encrypted. Audio gold, my playing amid chaos. Voices pleading, keep going. Thornton. Trial day 1. Defense painted me unreliable. Concussion? Therapy. Doubts seated. Olivia's stand flipped it. Simple suit. No errors. Heard her play it pre-deployment. Elegy for the forgotten. Unmistakable. Cross-exam faltered. Her prodigy poise held. Email nuked them, my send. His curt reply, proof he received. Didn't create. Experts dueled, ours one chain of custody. Cole sealed, medical logs noting music intervention by Thornton stabilizing vitals. This wasn't art, he told jurors. It was lifeline. You can't fake that suffering. Verdict, mine rights. Royalties. Retraction ordered. Outside. Daniel gripped. I forged your strength. No, I said. I survived you. Music's truth. Not trophy. Olivia hugged. Play the real one soon. Healing began. Settlement funds could have bought escape, a cabin in Maine. Anonymity. Instead, I leased a Chicago loft. Gutted it for the rhythm refuge, music therapy for vets. No marble, exposed beams. Soundproof nooks with keyboards. Guitars. Drums. Cole chaired the board. Hayes designed curricula on his GI Bill. Media frenzy post-trial? Declined. Save a VA journal interview. Why music? It speaks where words fail. We opened quietly, email blasts. Instruments free. No skill needed. First vet, Air Force pilot. Hands tremor ruined for guitar. Can't anymore. We'll adapt, I said. Sessions birthed raw compositions, therapy, and tempo. Word spread. They came. Insomniacs finding peace in percussion. Nurses reclaiming song. Olivia visited. Dads. Softer. Donating fees anonymously. She handed an envelope, his variations on my theme. Seeking permission. Yes, if royalties here. Months later. A program. His concert crediting me fully. Note, truth echoes eventually. Thanks for the lesson. That night, I played the elegy evolved, hopeful now. Hayes, he couldn't steal it 'cause it's for the living. A text, used to drum pre-Iraq. Too late. Never. The elegy lived on. In breaths steadied. Silences healed, not performance, but purpose. Sun filtered through refuge windows. 5 years on. Casting warmth on scarred floors alive with sound, bass lines battling PTSD. Harmonies mending loss. My knee ached less. Memories integrated. A new bench outside, plaque from DT. Subtle nod. A kid. Daughter of a client. Handed a drawing. Thanks for fixing mom's quiet. I played for her the elegy. Breathing incarnate. Sounds like life, she said. Applications piled, we expanded. Amelia's text, Dad played yours, told your story. Ovation. As I locked up, humming fresh melodies. Another query, piano before war. Ready now? Always. The silent war ended in symphony, not vengeance's price, but reconciliation's quiet cost. Music waited. For all left behind.